Qualifying for GT Cup Europe is underway. Well, it kind of is. We've got a red flag within the first 28 seconds of the session here. And not many cars actually ended up making it out of pit lane before the red flag was called. We had yellow flags out at turn 1. And, well, not quite sure yet what on earth has gone on down there to bring out the red flags so promptly. There are a few cars out on track that are now slowly making their way back into pit lane. Now this is why. Oh, no, it's the Rosso Corsa car. This car and this team has already had so much drama this year, and it looks like they've hit the barriers at turn 1 and brought out the red flag. Now, you'll notice that that Rosso Corsa car is not in its usual blue and red livery, and that is because Andrea Bellici crashed at the Sachs curve yesterday during testing and completely wrote off their car. And so they've got out in the spare one. Andrea Bellici was taken to hospital yesterday to check for a back injury. He was complaining about back pain. Otherwise, he's perfectly fine. There is a chance that Lorenzo Innocenti will do both the races this weekend solo. But immediately, Lorenzo Innocenti has now dinged the spare car as well. So an absolutely torrid weekend. We can get a really good look at it on the Rosso Corsa car. But wow, not a great weekend for that team. So 19.5 minutes left on the clock in qualifying, so there'll be a slight delay. In the meanwhile, Chris Stevens and Ewan Dunlop in the commentary box. Yeah, Ewan, very odd start to this session.
Very, very unique. Incredibly unique, but must say, damage, yes, but depending on seeing what happened yesterday, great to see him safe and the car going. Looks hopefully sort of superficial, and we'll find out over the next few minutes whether that car comes back out on track when we get going with this 19.5-minute session. I don't even think we had the cameras running to see what happened.
No, we didn't.
There it is, there's a close-up. That is, that's pretty nasty, isn't it? That is a good old impact front right.
Well,
the team must just be gutted.
Yeah, that is, that's just really, really unfortunate, isn't it? So both their drivers have had a ding into the wall, and I can only assume we've got barrier damage or something, and that's why the red flags are out. So we've not even, like, no one even made it through the first sector.
There's not much to analyse there, is there?
I think we had a red flag out in the last qualifying session as well, where Mark Speakervass's car had a brake failure at the top of the hill in Portimao, and we didn't. We had to talk about that as well. So now we can see there is a bit of damage on the tyre barrier that's having to be replaced, which is why we're under red flag conditions. So, you know, this GT Cup's first ever race here at Hockenheim, and we got red flags within the first 30 seconds of running.
We'll remember it, for sure.
Yeah.
Only made his international debut last year, Innocenti. But Innocenti guilty of the red flag being brought. There's the beautiful car. It stood right next to that car yesterday, the 79. The livery is absolutely incredible. It is beautiful and totally unique. I can't wait to see it eventually. Pulling some speed around these corners, but we'll have to wait. So, of course, safety first. It is being dealt with. The barrier will be replaced as quick as we possibly can. The track is heating up to 32 degrees now. The track, 18 in the air at track side. Lovely to see all very sensible attendees here in the stadium section. All, let's say all, about 90% sitting in the shade, and a few looking to top up their tan.
A few brave ones out there, aren't there? That's our braving the elements in the direct heat.
You can tell it's warm when the assistants are opening and waving the door to get some air into the car at 10:30 in the morning. You know it's going to be a warm day.
Yeah, it certainly can. So Dieter Schreps there aboard the Racar Porsche. They, of course, are second or even third, actually, in the championship. In the AM Championship going into this weekend. Of course, they were our overall race winners in Portimao. Rather unusual to see an AM car take an outright win. So we've got a restart time, 10:57. So in about 5 and a bit minutes time. There is Dieter Schweppes. He's out of the car. The Mertel team talking to the cars. Mertel have brought an extra car. They have got now a 7th entry in this championship. They have added the number 86 car, which is Martinus Richter and David Kjaya. Jan Lauritsen back in the championship as well, our 2022 champion, but this time he's not alone. He is partnered up with the Belgian racing team. He's got Dylan De Dale alongside him, which is, of course, Pro-Am entry. Dylan coming from the Belcar Endurance Championship. He's twice a champion there. But some of you might be familiar with him from his stint in GT Open as well. He's a podium finisher in GT Open back in 2014. But an awful lot of experience racing in Belgium, of course, but also in GT World Challenge at the Macau GT as well, in Porsches with the Super Cup and also Carrera Cup Benelux as well. So very experienced Belgian driver alongside his countryman Jan Lauritsen, who only did 2 rounds last year, but won 3 of the 4 races that he competed in. And then, of course, in his championship winning year, won 7 of the 9 races he ended up contesting as well. So, safe to say Dylan's in good hands there with his teammates. Even though we've only had 28 seconds of running, we've already got 2 cars under investigation. And that is Stinus Longin and Nathan Brawns, but that is for crossing the white line on the pit entry, which a number of drivers did in the GT Open qualifying session just now and got away with a reprimand. So I imagine it will be a similar result there. So we do have a few extra entries for this weekend. The number 7. Also being run by the Belgian racing team, but under the Speed Lover brand. It's Fleet Wills. And again, a Belgian racing driver. And he is joining us from the Porsche Sprint Challenge Southern Europe and the Benelux series that he competed in last year. Who else have we got that's new for this weekend? We have our regular runners that we saw out last time around, but I think in terms of new entries, we did go through them. We didn't talk much about the 86, did we, from Mertel? We just sort of mentioned them, but yes, Martinus Richter, the Ferrari Challenge Copper Shell Am World Champion of 2023, been competing in Ferrari Challenge since 2021, done all his time with Mertel, and sharing that car with David Kjala. A monstrous effort from the Mertel team to be fielding 7 cars. And actually, the 84 car, which is the Arturo Melgar Stefano Pizzoni car, that's actually a different car they've got for this weekend, because the car they usually use was rather smashed to pieces.
Technical term?
Yes. In Mugello at the Italian GT last weekend, and it's going to take a few months to repair, I'm told. So they've had to borrow a car for the foreseeable future, and to keep that entry running. And of course, now with 7 entries, it does rather increase the risk of one of their cars having problems, because of course the orange car, the Mark Speakovas and Leon Chen number 82 car had quite a tumultuous Portimao. First of all, getting tagged at the first corner at the start of race 1, and then the brake issue that prevented the car from starting the race after it crashed in qualifying for race 2. Now, that was the sound of an engine firing up. We saw the track looking in a much better state than it was a few minutes ago. And we're under 30 seconds away from our provisional green flag time. And in fact, we've got cars making their way down to the end of pit lane, and we should be able to get this session going.
Fantastic. Let's wait and see. And interestingly, Portimao, pole position was a bit of a poison chalice. Only pole sitters in race 1, Lavisi and Rafai, 8th finish overall. And then pole sitters in race 2, Velasco and Ludwig, only finishing 5th. They are top of the points totals, though, with 18 after a 2nd and a 5th. So let's see, can anybody convert a pole position across this weekend into a win in the GT Cup Europe? And here we go. We are officially back on track. They'll come streaming out now.
Yeah, just a reminder of the championship standings going into this weekend. It is Ivan Velasco and Luka Ludwig for the Mertel team that are leading the standings, but tied on points with Lars Zanen and Xander Prispalak. For Q1 track racing, Ferrari and a Porsche tied up at the head of the field. And then just behind them, we've got 3 cars all tied for 3rd position. Leandro Martins and Dieter Schweppes in the Rackar car on 15 points. Then Nicolas Aliens and Stinus Longin, both of our race winners from Portimao. And then Matteo Lavisi and Federico Al-Rifai. They finished 2nd in race 2 in Portimao. So very young pairing there in that GDL car, neither of which have been to Hockenheim before. Got to meet them for the first time yesterday. They, oh, Alvaro Libera just tickled the throttle there and got the back end of that Ferrari 488 Challenge kicking out. So taking it very easy and trying to build a little bit of tyre temperature there. Making their way down the Parabolica, and I mean, I can't imagine what it's going to be like to unleash the taps on that car when we get going. Of course, it's a fairly beefy engine in that car, the 3.9 litre V8, or 670 brake horsepower. You see, look, he's getting the power down and getting the back end out. So, first flying laps now underway. And there we can see the first look at the number 86 car. That's the new one for Mertel this weekend. It's the red car. Again, Mertel doing us all a huge favour in painting their cars very different colours. Although I think the 84 is actually a bit more white now because it's the spare one. So not the usual orange for them. And we can actually, we have a first sector time, finally. Luka Ludwig, 22-0 in the first sector for the championship leader. Mertel making it very clear that this is the car that is going to defend the driver's title. And then the 53 there, we see the car that is 2nd in the championship after taking a podium finish last time out. And it's more about consistency really in Portimao that's put some of these cars up at the front of the field. Nobody in Portimao actually had 2 consecutive podium appearances once you factored in the number 80's 5-second time penalty that they picked up for track limits after the race. So they did stand on the podium in the end, and it was an appeal from Rosso Corsa that led to that particular penalty. Stinus Longin has set the first flying lap of this session. It's a 43.358. Fastest time in free practice. Well, actually, it's been rather dominated by the number 80 crew, because they were fastest in both FP1 and FP2, and then Ivan Velasco was fastest in the bronze test as well at the end of the day. So a 42.523 was the best time set during Friday practice. That was during FP1, and we're already quite a bit quicker than that, as we're at 41.990 for Luka Ludwig on his first flying lap.
Yeah, that was 3 purple sectors, and he's gone purple again in sector 1 on his 2nd attempt around the track. And that Steve's long in 143.358 That will not last too long in second place. 1.3 second gap. Of course, we're all just warming the tyres up as they take their first and second flying attempts around the course. It's a beautiful car, isn't it? The number 80, El Rubio.
Great looking machine.
How much
Great
quicker can it go?
Oh, well, that's the question, isn't it? We're in for another great battle between the Ferraris and the Porsches.
He's got another 2 purple sectors, Ludwig.
Of course, Luca Ludwig on double duties this season between the GT Cup and the GT Open. So his GT Open teammate Ernst Kirkmeyer just took the qualifying session for GT Open. Luca will do this session GT Cup and then, of course, swap around for tomorrow. He's a busy boy now, is Luca Ludwig, racing for his 2 teams, both Ferrari teams, as he lowers the benchmark even further on 41.554. Of course, no real reference times, as we say. This is the series' first visit to the series. Yes, we've got yellow flags at turn 12, and it's more drama for the 82 Myrtel car, the car that hasn't actually completed a racing lap so far this season because of the first lap incident in Portimao and then not starting race 2, and now it has hit the barriers at turn 12. The driver at the wheel being we've got red flags out again, and it's Leon Chen who is driving it, and we've got a second red flag out. 13.5 minutes left on the clock. Wow. Now, how are we going to see what happens? Wow. Just absolutely skated off, goes in backwards, and then, dearie me. So.
I mean, red the only option right there, isn't it? It's a fast turn to the right-hand side. And even like 50 meters of gravel couldn't slow him down enough.
Yeah, I think we'll need a little bit of a shimmy at the barriers there as well, because it's taken quite a big whack. So, Luca Ludwig provisionally fastest by 1.8 seconds in the 6 minutes or so we managed to get going there.
I mean, other than the top 5, nobody's got a flying lap in yet, really.
Yeah. So, we'll take the results with a pinch of salt, really. But, for what it's worth, Ludwig fastest, Stinas Longin in second, and Evgeny Leonov in third.
Confirmation on our timing screen that driver okay in the 82, which is always good to know. There is, of course, a couple of ambulances just coming to the scene, but from what we understand, they're not going to be required. But protocols being followed.
Yeah, quite a busy scene down there, down at turn 12. Of course, the spectators in the Sachs Curve grandstand have quite a good view of what's going on down there. There we can see Leon Chen out of the car. And, yep, seemingly okay. So we're going to see again what happened. Amazingly, it almost looked like it started spinning in the gravel. But, yeah, that's quite a hard hit that Leon's had there.
I'll tell you what, that debris came down close to those chaps, didn't it? Walking okay.
Always a risk, and, of course, good opportunity to thank the marshals for the work that they do, because we cannot go racing without them. So, always a big appreciation for the... I was going to say the Orange Army, but they're not actually wearing orange here, are they? They're more sort of in blue, aren't they? So they're the Blue Army here at Hockenheim, specifically.
Officially, 13 minutes and 31 seconds still remaining. Whether we'll see out 13.5 minutes, because it is a busy schedule today, we'll wait and see. But plenty going on. The tractor's coming in now to have a look and see if it can dig it out the gravel.
Yeah, so there was a low loader that is it's on its way to the scene. I was going to say it's going in the wrong direction, but there's a little cut through between turns 12, or turn 11, sorry, and turn 15. And, yep, seemingly okay. We'll that it seems to be taking. So
Emergency services leaving the scene.
international rescue on its way as well. So who else have we got in this session? Because we haven't actually taken too much of a look at who we've got left. We've looked a lot at Luka Ludwig. But who else have we got in this session so far? Obviously, Johannes Zelger is running solo in his car. So he's obviously out there in the number 79 Tsunami car. Heard that team was having a few issues with their brakes during yesterday's running, but hopefully all sorted now. And yeah, the Zelger car is in that rather nice sort of artsy livery that you like there, Ewan. And Johannes has spent his entire racing career with the Tsunami team, having started racing a few years ago in Carrera Cup Italia, even made a World Cup appearance in the Super Cup at Monza, and last year did not only Carrera Cup Italia but also Carrera Cup France, and made his GT3 debut as well at the Golf 12 Hour. And we can see the Leon Chen car being dragged out of the gravel trap.
Also to our right, the emergency services having a nightmare trying to get back onto the track. They're not going to squeeze through that gap down there.
Oh yes.
Oh, are they
slight
moving?
Gap in. No.
Oh no, it's just the haze. Oh,
I think that was just a replay there. Yeah, well, we've got these nice the pit stop ASMR in GT Cup as well. We saw this in GT Open, and now we're gonna see it here as well. Hope we get this during the race. That'll be very cool. It'll be great for the clip at the end of the weekend as well. See yeah, there was a bit of door fanning needed. It was surprisingly hot when we got here yesterday.
Yeah.
And even though a little chilly this morning, it's warmed up very quickly indeed. So not surprised the drivers asking for a little bit of air because it does tend to get quite hot in those cars.
Last time round, we did get an indication of when the track might be opening again, but there's so much going on with the car in the gravel. I don't think we can estimate a restart time just yet.
No, I don't think until that car is safely removed and they've checked the barriers, then we will hopefully get a time, a restart time in, a provisional one anyway. So we saw that Jan Lauritsen and Dylan Dedaus, Jan Lauritsen in the car. Oh, look at this. This mechanic's on double duty with the door fanning there down at Myrtel. Got to pay him double. Were you just going to say that?
I was going to say pay him double. I was. Spot on. One group of people this isn't helping is the Frecker drivers, because they are currently queuing in a assembly to get on track. They're going to be heating up equally. Of course, no car cover to shade them either. They're going to be baking down there in assembly, and they might be there for some time.
Oh, well, they are, most of them are quite a bit younger than than the drivers in GT Cup.
They don't absorb the heat as much. Thumbs up.
They can deal with it. Of course, we do get quite a few young drivers. I mean, we were talking about the GDL pairing of Federico Al-Rifai and Matteo Levisi, which is, a very young pairing there. I mean, Matteo only made his car racing debut last year. We do have a restart time. 11:15 pit lane will open, so that is 4 minutes and 5 seconds time. But yeah, so Matteo running in Italian GT last year, and then Federico Al-Rifai, reigning Saudi Arabian F4 champion, but only started racing in F4 last year, and then making his switch into GTs, sticking it on pole position at the first time of asking as well in Portimao. So very interested to see what this young dynamic pairing can do throughout the rest of the campaign. But I was talking to Federico yesterday. I said, you didn't feel like pursuing the single-seater route, and he said, no, I prefer to do the GTs, and the car's a lot of fun to drive, and he's enjoying the championship and racing in GT. So yeah, fair play on that one. Who else we got in this session? Bogdan Dumas out in the number 57 Q1 Porsche. Bogdan Dumas, one of a few drivers we have in the field that is a rally champion turned circuit racer, the 18-year-old Romanian driver who started rallying at the age of 10.
Wow.
In Romania. And he has circuit racing experience before that. So when he was 13, he started racing in the Romanian Endurance Championship as well. But largely has been focused on the rallying scene and the time attack scene until last year, with Q1 was given the opportunity to race in the Porsche Sprint Challenge Benelux Championship with the GT4 Cayman, which he won the championship there quite convincingly, winning 9 out of the 10 races.
Winning 9 out of 10 races?
Yeah.
Crikey.
Now turning his hand to GT Cup competition, taking the step up from GT4 and potentially GT3 campaign in the future. But of course he's sharing the car with team manager Nico van Dierendonk.
Now, I don't think 11:15 is going to be the correct time, because we're 2 minutes away from that, and still got the low loader with the car on the back of it, the tractor just making its way off the gravel. So it might be a couple of minutes beyond 11:15, but we are not going anywhere.
Yeah, so it's a little TBC next to it, isn't it? And rightly so. Noise is. It's what we're aiming for, but yeah, might need to wait just a little bit longer there. Alba Vasquez in the number 83 Myrtle car. Oh, her car we could see there. Of course, the all-female pairing with Laura van der Hengel as well. The additional support there from the crew, so women mechanics and engineers on that car specifically as well. Although don't think that's been a representative time just yet. So like I said, we got very few actual laps in. So there we can see the lorry on its way back with Leon Chen's car on the back of it. Oh goodness me, that is quite a bit of damage there on the left-hand side there. A few eager photographers in the grandstand there, getting some snaps of that. But yeah, quite a bit of work for the Myrtle team. And I hate to say it, but once again, we're going to have to ask if that car is going to be ready in time for the race. There is quite a bit more of a gap between the qualifying and the race here compared to in Portimao. So the race is, well, fast lane opens at 4:03, which is when the car would need to be ready by, I think. And that is just under 5 hours away. So it's not up against the clock 2 hours like it was in Portimao. So ambitious, but they might still be able to get that car out. Like I say, it hasn't actually completed a racing lap yet this season. Yeah, delay to the pit lane opening now 11:25, so just under 10 minutes time until we hopefully get the remaining 13.5 minutes of this session run, and set ourselves a grid for race number 1. Of course, similar format to what we have in the GT Open, and oh, it's just been pushed back another 3 minutes now, 11:28. So we are slightly starting to eat into the schedule here, because the Formula Regional qualifying is due to start at 11:15. Or, well, actually, it was due to start a minute ago, wasn't it? So we are eating into the lunch break ever so slightly. But hopefully we can run green flag without any further delay. Then we can set ourselves a grid for race number 1. And hopefully that's given the Rosso Corsa team a bit of time to repair the damage on that number 17 car of Lorenzo Innocenti as well, who I'm sure will already be feeling a bit down about how this weekend is going, but of course got to persevere. So yes, if that car can get a bit of repair work done on it, we might see it back out.
I mean, considering last night the Oregon car had a entire engine refit, and that was overnight. I mean, it was a big impact. It wasn't a soft one. So we, of course, don't know. We can see it superficially, not sure the entire ins and outs of that damage, but fingers crossed they can get out and racing. You never want to come to a track and go away without, like you say, having run an entire racing lap, and let alone this season and this weekend.
GDL team there with the 67 crew. I think it's the only car they've brought with them for this weekend. In fact, it is. So we've quite a few entries for them in Portimao, but just the one for them this weekend for the San Marino squad. Joined by their countrymen, Tsunami Racing team as well. Of course, home race for the Mertel team, German team. And series first visit to Hockenheim, as we mentioned. The GT Sport organisation hasn't come here since 2019, and that of course was the first year of the GT Cup, but Championship didn't visit Hockenheim that particular year. And well, it's a very different championship to what it was back then. Very healthy grids and wonderful competition between the Porsches and the Ferraris, as we so often see. The Porsches that own the wiggly bits, the Ferraris that dominate the straights, and it makes for absolutely thrilling racing. Matteo Levisi there was just on board the 67 GDL car. Drivers eagerly awaiting to get back going again, as we are now 9 minutes from the restart, and that is because the that section of the tyre wall that Leon Chen's car hit is having to be replaced. So that is the second corner where we've needed a tyre barrier repair job in this session, because of course we started off, we got barely 30 seconds into the session, there were red flags out immediately when Lorenzo Innocenti hit the barriers on the exit of turn 1, and that was an intervention there to get the barrier repaired rather than to recover the car, because he made it back into pit lane under his own steam.
Always interesting to see what drivers do when they know they've got like a 10-minute break. Sometimes if it's a red flag, you could be going again in a couple of minutes, but when you know it is 10 or 13, 15, I mean, for the Freca drivers, they've got 20 minutes to sit and wait now. But just what you do in that time, some will get out and maybe get a drink and a very small bite to eat. Some will watch the show maybe and listen along and try and see some replays of what's happened. Or you just stay in your car, concentrate, stay in that zone. Completely varies everywhere you go. But I think right now the consensus is doors open, cool down.
Yeah. Take on some fluids as well.
And the Frecas have got the umbrellas out pretty much over every single car right now. So as it stands, we think 7.5 minutes, and there's definitely getting less action over there. Most of the vehicles have moved away now. It is just those that are repairing the barrier. A couple of vehicles, half a dozen marshals getting involved, and the safety car just at the point pretty much where the car spun off as well.
So we were talking about rally drivers turned circuit racers, a few of them in the field, the one being Florentin Cescu in the 21 R01 Porsche. Oh, speak of the devil. There he is. And he is in the car as well for this session. But the Romanian duo aboard the Romanian run car, the two that won the Romanian GT Endurance Championship back in 2021. But Cincescu, a former rally driver, pair that finished 5th in the AM Championship last year, taking a podium finish in the finale in Barcelona last year, and coming out strong this year as well, because they had a podium in Portimao as well. Sadly, it's the only points to their name after not scoring in the first round. It is, in terms of the, we talked about the overall championship, but in terms of the AM Championship, it's again Q1 track racing. Laurent van der Velde and Nathan Braun's that lead the way after finishing first and third across the two races. Nathan Braun's in his first season of GT racing, having come over from the VW Fun Cup in Belgium. And there's Jan Laursen out of the car, just didn't quite catch that.
No.
It sounded like German, but my GCSE German doesn't quite stretch that far. I had enough trouble just ordering a beer last night.
Well, that was second and third and the fourth. Got easier as the night went on. But smiles, on the smiles on the faces.
Yeah, they
though.
remembered me.
You. Smiles on the faces of the drivers, though. It's all part of the game, isn't it? Ah, there we go. There's a much better view. That is not looking too bad now. To me, from this angle, that kind of looks fixed, and they are walking away. There's a power drill.
Yeah, just screwing it into position.
I thought we just stacked the tyres up. What's a power drill for?
Then they got to secure them in place, haven't they? So the sort of cherry picker there that's been putting it into place is sort of slowly making its way back off the circuit. Davide Scanicchio and Fabio Babini there. Scanicchio in the car for this session. Of course, changed team for them between last year and this year. Scanicchio racing Carrera Cup Italy since 2020, joining GT Cup last year, I think it was, with ZRS Motorsport. And of course, Fabio Babini, well, you name it, he's raced it, basically. He's a Le Mans 24-hour class winner, a champion in Super Trofeo, multiple champion in Super Trofeo, actually. Champion in European Le Mans Series, Michelin Le Mans Cup as well, Italian GT. Race winner in GT Open as well. So quite a thick CV that Babini has. Looked like the mechanic there at Myrtle has turned his focus onto just the one car there, by the looks of it. There we see again the very lovely Johannes Zelger car. I think they ran that livery when Johannes made his GT3 debut at the Golf 12-hour, but unfortunately it got slightly dinged, and that is an understatement.
I could tell.
Down at the Yas Marina circuit. Yeah, haven't seen that car out again for a while. We've got some pit stop ASMR again, and some door fanning ASMR as well. Watch the technique. See, we can learn a lot here from how the pros do it.
Now the safety car has left its position. It was holding fort at that corner. It is now moving away. I can't see anybody at the scene of the incident in the gravel or the barrier. So I feel like, we've got 11:30 TBC. That looks pretty good to me. I can't see any reason out on track why that wouldn't go ahead. And just looking across the track here, we can see not the entire thing, can't see Parabolica, but you can see the stadium section, turns 1 and just about turns 2. But everybody, just get the sense of everybody having a good time. We can see the podium opposite us on the 2nd floor, and family and friends up there taking photos of each other, everybody enjoying the sunshine, and hopefully in about 3.5 minutes, enjoying the sound of some 4-litre flat 6 engines in the Porsche and the 3.9 of the Ferrari roaring round the corners in front of us.
Safe to say, it's
oddly quiet right now, isn't it?
It's a good turnout, though, isn't it, for the fans? And of course, you know, since the Grand Prix stopped coming here a few years ago, they've been rather deprived of big racing series out in this area, which is a real shame to see, really. But hopefully we can provide them a little bit of entertainment. And of course, the German fans are passionate as ever, very supportive of really anything that happens out here at Hockenheim. Of course, there's a lot of testing that happens here, but not a whole lot of racing these days. But hopefully that will change soon, because it's a wonderful circuit. Particularly for racing. I know everyone loves to hate the new layout. Every time you go on Twitter, oh, it's not as good as it used to be back in the day. And I think, well, I'll just show you any race from since the middle sector got redone, and show you how amazing it is for racing. And then that's just a personal opinion anyway. But
people like to reminisce, don't they? I remember, I'm a little bit older than you, Chris, and I do recall the races through the forest section. I even remember on my my Amiga computer, I think it was Grand Prix 91, and you could race through the forest. And I mean, it was like block art. It was like Roblox nowadays coming past you. But it was an amazing view, it was an amazing feeling, and of course no fans could get out there. It was the sensible decision to redesign in around 2002, so everybody can see what's going on. I think they're both, in their own right, just incredible tracks.
Oh, absolutely. But, I think I do like this, the modern Hockenheim. Does provide absolute great entertainment. Right, we are just over a minute away from pit lane opening again. Notice the TBC next to it has gone as well. So hopefully this does now mean that we will get, and yes, drivers heading into their cars, the mechanics doing the little turnover symbol to get the cars started up again, and yes, cars making their way to the end of pit lane. And we will get underway again shortly. 13.5 minutes remain in this Q1 session for GT Cup Europe. We've had to wait quite a bit for it. It's been a very dramatic already first visit to Hockenheim for this series, but we'll get the closing stages of this session set the grid for race 1. Hopefully the race will be a little bit calmer than what we have had so far. Just to remind you, it is Luca Ludwig, currently fastest in the number 80 Mertel Motorsport Ferrari 488 Challenge Evo with a 141.554. As the red flag is rescinded, green flags are waving. We're back out on track once again.
Fantastic. This is effectively a 13-minute qualifying session because only half a dozen cars have actually set a flying lap. We've been that interrupted. So fingers crossed we do get a clean now, dozen minutes or so. Get this Porsche and Ferrari party finally started. 141.5 the time to beat right now.
Well, it's nice just hearing them back out on track at the moment, isn't it? It's yeah, flurry of cars making their way down towards turn 6, already jostling for position as the 52 Q1 track racing car, which is Nathan Braun's, trying to get up ahead of some of the cars that were ahead of him. I think that was Alba Vasquez he rounded up there going into the hairpin. See the difference between the Porsches and the Ferraris through a corner like turn 7, for example, as we're on board here with Evgeny Leonov and the Volcano Motorsport Porsche. Evgeny Leonov hoping that he doesn't get the bad luck that he suffered from quite a bit last year and mount a title challenge for this year. It was a decent start to proceedings for him. He's currently 6th in the championship, so he had 2 decent finishes. Hasn't been on the podium yet, though. I think facing a slightly stiffer competition than he was this time last year. But he can push forward. One of a couple of drivers running solo in this championship, and as a Pro-Am runner, will have to take an additional handicap in the race as well to counteract that, because if you are, you know, silver or gold, like running solo, then that's basically a pro car, which is not allowed in the GT Cup. Younger sibling to the GT Open that is aimed at more amateur drivers, but also utilised by lots of young drivers who are hoping to break into the world of GT racing.
The 11 there, Stina's Longin for the second rerun of this qualifying in succession. He'll be the first to set a fastest lap, but just coming up against the back marker, and he wasn't quicker in sector 1 either.
Yeah, hard to just put the hammer down at the first time of asking, isn't it? As he makes his way through the middle sector, that Mercedes-Benz arena. And yeah, not sending the timing screen alight with his pace just yet, but building up to it and getting the tyres prepared. As he makes his way out of the Sachs curve. Stina's long in that number 11 car. Of course, he and Nicolas Salens, his teammate, won the GT2 European Series back in 2022. Went their separate ways in that championship last year, but now back racing together again. The all-Belgian pairing, again in the Belgian team. As Dieter Streps took quite a bit of curve at turn 1 there, lifted the 2 right-hand side wheels of that Porsche up into the air, and is being closely followed there by Annie Frozio. No, Annie Frozio's in 85. 84, sorry, the yellow car, which is Arturo Melga, excuse me. So Arturo Melga going to round up the Rakow car by the looks of it. And, yeah, it does seem like yes, of course. So yeah, because they're not running their usual car. So that car's normally blue, and now it looks an awful lot like the 85 of Cabezas and Frozio. But Arturo Melga joining the championship, coming from Italian GT, has some touring car experience as well, but backing out of this lap to try and create a bit of a gap to Dieter Streps by the looks of things.
I'm glad you clarified that, because I was looking at my time, like paperwork here, going, I'm sure that car should be blue.
Yes, because that's the one that, well, it's the one that was smashed up at Mugello, and they've had to borrow one for this weekend, so that's why it's not in its usual colour scheme. Melga's making his way onto the front straight. Stina's long in, puts in another lap. Luca Ludwig hasn't come out onto the track since we got going again. Neither has Lorenzo Innocenti, but of course we saw his car had damage on his car. So Zana Prisbalak is second fastest as it stands for Q1 track racing in the 53 car. That is the car that Luca Ludwig and Ivan Velasco are tied on points for the lead in the championship at the moment, and then Stina's long in third position. So 2 Q1 track racing cars chasing a Mertel Ferrari. is off and the way. Matteo Levisi here on a flying lap, making his way through that little flick left-right in the final sector. And what can the Italian do here? As he gets way out onto the curbing and the extra bit of grass there, goes second fastest. So within 0.7 of a second, and sets the fastest final sector as well. That's the kind of section of the track where the Porsche will excel.
Yeah, not seeing many purple sectors at all in the opening 5 minutes of this, let's call it, third part of qualifying.
Yes, it's almost like we've had a Q1 and a Q2 already, isn't it? As Zander Prisbilak making his way back into the pits, bailed out of that lap. Just been demoted to third fastest, has Prisbilak. Of course, Prisbilak, reigning AM champion in GT Cup, won that with Laurent van der Velde last year, but they're running in separate cars now, as are our two overall champions from last year, with Ivan Velasco now sharing the car with Luca Ludwig and Jorge Cabezas, who won the title last year with Velasco, now running with Annie Frozio. Matteo Levisi continuing to set decent pace in the first sector, done a personal best there, 21.7, and also a personal best in the middle sector as well. So the GDL car running very strong here in the closing stages of this qualifying session. Of course, a car he's very familiar with, having run it in Carrera Cup Italy, but with the that was the 991 version. Oh, when he's had to back out right here at the last couple of corners. But yeah, of course, used to running the 991.2 version of this car. His first year running the 992. So he looks to go for another lap, and again, hop. Oh, had a bit of a twitch. Had a bit of a twitch when he went over that curb.
Really go hard at that first corner, don't they? I've been watching that for the last few minutes, and everybody, well, some will take it quite sensibly, some will attack it so hard and go onto two wheels.
Out of turn 4 now onto the Parabolica. Might sneak a cheeky toe there from the 57, Bogdan Duma. Heading up towards turn 6. Arturo Melga goes second fastest while we're watching this. As well in 84, it's the Myrtle Ferrari, so it's a Myrtle 1-2 as it stands, then GDL, then two Q1 track racing cars. Ampol sitter at the moment is Dieter Schweppes in 6th position overall for the Racar team. That's just come back into the pits as well, as again Matteo Levisi kicking out the back end of that 992 Porsche. Heading up towards the final sector now, and this is not an improvement on this lap. By the looks of it, hasn't improved in either of the first two sectors. So hoping to see if he can squeeze in a lap with just under 4 minutes left on the clock. And again, backing out in the last sector there. Obviously on this one, he's not improving, but the last one was an improvement. So maybe third time's the charm for Matteo Levisi. Arturo Melga continuing to set very good pace here. He is doing personal best in the first two sectors. And of course, still no sign of movement yet from the number 80 crew with Luca Ludwig. I mean, we saw Fabian Schiller do this in the GT Open qualifying. He just did his lap in the first sort of 10-15 minutes and went, right, I'm done. And it seems like Luca Ludwig's done the same thing. And Arturo Melga wrestling with the wheel of that Ferrari 488 challenge car out to the final corner. Is this going to be anything that can challenge Luca at the front of the field? He didn't improve in the last sector there, but it was still a personal best, and he is now half a second behind his garage mate, Luca Ludwig. So Myrtle 1 and 2, with just under 3 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah, super impressive. Ludwig still in the pits right now. Will we see him again? He's got to come out pretty soon. If he doesn't come out in the next 30 seconds or so, he's not going to make it round in time, potentially. But with half a second difference, it's a huge, huge gap. The same difference between second and roughly 7th place on the track right now. So it is a big advantage.
little deep there into the hairpin there for Melga.
Giving it one more go.
I think he's bailed out of this one. So, that is, yeah, Luka Ludwig still in the car. Still in the car, but not going anywhere. Interesting. I mean, there's 2 minutes left on the clock. Maybe they, unless they send him out now.
I mean, he's cutting it fine. In the next 5 seconds, he'd have to go.
I mean, yeah, poor lad's just cooking in there at the moment if they're not intending to go out at all. So, Jan Lauritsen returning to the championship. This time with the Belgian racing team. Had so much success with Q1 track racing in the last couple of years in the GT Cup. And let's see what he can do now with the Belgian racing team. New teammate, of course, used to running solo. But Jan Lauritsen, currently 9th fastest. Personal best in the first sector for him on this lap. Making his way through the stadium section now.
Melgar's going again, just gone over the start-finish line, giving it one more go.
Yeah, so Jan Lauritsen up towards the final corner. And towards the timing line, as I said, it was personal best in the first sector for him. Currently 9th fastest as he goes across the timing line. It is 7th fastest now for the 2022 champion. So it doesn't seem like anyone is going to be able to challenge Luka Ludwig here for pole position.
Top 6, just Melgar and Longin on track. Melgar, he'd make a massive jump to catch his stablemate Ludwig. Half a second the difference. He did have 2 PBs in his last time round. Just didn't capitalise on sector 3. Well, that's not Longin, but Longin is out on track. He could potentially, he was on the 2nd row anyway. What's that, a few thousandths of a second between him and Levisi. That car's not going anywhere.
They can get him out of the car now. The checkered flag is out. And yes, I think they know it. Pole position is theirs. I think that was Ivan there, just congratulating Luka.
Well, you say that, here comes Melgar. I don't think he's going to do it, but no, surely won't.
It's a hop and a skip over the curbing there for Evgeny Leonov. This doesn't look like it's a lap that's going to help him improve on 9th fastest, and nor is that little slide that he had at between the last 2 corners there. Steeners Longin might be able to improve on 4th. He does. He goes onto the front row of the grid, denies Mertel a front row lockout, and he puts that Q1 track racing car onto the front row of the grid. And once again, we have got Ferrari, Porsche on the front 2 rows of the grid. And that is a mouth-watering prospect for the race this afternoon. Dieter Schweppes taking the AM pole position. They're in 6th position overall. Nathan Braun's in 8th with 2nd in the AM classification for Q1 track racing. So another Rackar versus Q1 battle brewing in that particular class. And Florentin Cescu here, last card across the line, stays 14th fastest.
Nobody did more laps in that qualifying than Steeners Longin. He was the first man out on both occasions and pretty much the last man across the track as well. That is resilience and gets him on the front row of the grid for our first race in the GT Cup this afternoon.
Yeah, so cars have been told to... all right, well, let's take a look at the results then. It is Luka Ludwig on pole position once again this season, ahead of Steeners Longin, Mertel versus Q1 on the front row of the grid, and Ferrari versus Porsche. It's the same on the 2nd row, Arturo Melga and Matteo Levisi on the 2nd row of the grid, then Xander Prispalak and AM pole position for Dieter Schweppes and Rackar. Jan Lauritsen on his return to the championship will start 7th, and then Nathan Braun's the AM championship leader, Evgeny Leonov and Johannes Zelga completing the top 10. Alvaro Libera and Bogdan Duma on the 6th row of the grid. Philippe Wills in the Speed Lover Porsche, Florentin Cescu and Davide Schinicchio in 15th position. Alba Vasquez and Martinez Richter, the additional car from Mertel for this weekend. Annie Frozio and Leon Chen we saw hit the barriers. He didn't get a time out there. And Lorenzo Innocenti didn't manage to set a time at all after bringing out the first red flag right at the beginning of the session. So cars have been told to go straight to the tent, so we won't be able to hear from Luca Ludwig, unfortunately, but we will see you for Lights Out, which will be at 20 minutes past 4 this afternoon.